Welcome to Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio, how to survive hidden healthcare and hospital dangers with author, speaker, and your host, Pat Rulo. Pat has over 20 years experience as a professional public speaker, and for the next hour, she's going to be your healthcare and hospital survival guide. Each week, you will say, oh, as Pat exposes and explores little-known hospital hazards, delves into the deep waters of dangerous healthcare practices, picks the brains of her good-looking and influential guests, all guaranteed to keep you and your family safe in today's fragmented healthcare system. The program is for informational purposes only and is not intended for use as diagnosis or treatment of a health problem or as a substitute for consulting a licensed medical professional. And now your host, Pat Rulo.
I can't bear you no more, baby. I got too much pride. But I'll survive. Keep on.
Hello, my name is Joe. Is this Pat Rulo, the host of Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio?
Why, yes it is.
Who are you?
Who am I? I am you. I am every person who has ever been in a hospital or doctor's office and has received less than acceptable treatment.
Who are you?
I am you. The person who got an infection during a simple outpatient procedure.
Wait, who are you?
I am you, the patient whose questions are ignored, who struggles to speak to the doctor as he or she has one foot out the door. I am the missed heart attack, the hospital-acquired infection, the wrong diagnosis, the unanswered call button.
Oh, so you're all about me.
The show is not about pointing a finger at hospitals, doctors, or nurses. It's not about a political agenda or party preferences. It's about you, your family, your friends, and your loved ones. It's about becoming informed of all the hospital hazards, what they are, how and why they happen, and what you can do about them. This show is about empowerment. It's about doing everything you can to stay safe during any and every healthcare encounter. Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. Yes, that's OH with an exclamation point. Will cause you to say oh, as each week we delve into little-known hospital and healthcare dangers. When you understand why something happens, you are better equipped to do something to change it and prevent it from happening to you. If enough people begin to speak up, together, each of us can alter the current precarious path of today's unsafe healthcare practices. Well, as usual, today's number one show on patient safety is very thoughtfully packed with information that you need to know. And remember, we're not here to scare you, just to prepare you. And now, here's the hospital hazard of the week. Relationships. Sometimes on this show, we talk about medical errors and mishaps that are somewhat out of our direct control. But today, I want to discuss something that we as patients can definitely control, and that is our relationships with our healthcare staff, doctors, nurses, aides, and even the housekeeping and transportation staff within a hospital. What do I mean? Well, think about how many people there are in the hospital on any given day. Thousands and thousands. And who are you? You're the new heart attack in room 202 or the hip replacement in 303. No one knows anything about you, and really, no one seems to care. Is there something we can do about this anonymity? What if you could become someone special, a friend, and not just the irritating call button? Well, if you're not feeling well, you may not be able to do this by yourself, and that's why it's important to have an advocate, someone else with you, someone to make friends with the hospital staff. Well, here's a few ways to stand out, and I mean in a good way. First of all, come prepared with knowledge. The more you know, the less dangerous the place will be. Bring a current list of all medications, allergies, emergency contact numbers, healthcare power of attorney, living will, and so on. You will stand out because, trust me, not many patients do this. Now you will stand out as being a smart patient. Bring a small poster of pictures of you when you're healthy and happy, your spouse, children, grandkids, pets, your garden, anything that allows others to see you as a real person with a real life and not just the faded hospital gown and messy hair. Now, when Nurse Susie asks about the kids in the picture, you can ask Nurse Susie if she has kids or grandkids. And when she tells you about her son's upcoming soccer game, you can inquire the next day about the results. Did Johnny's team win? Find out what matters to them. Find some common ground. Do you both like a certain TV show? Are you both fans of a local sports team? Now you are a friend. You care, they care, and no one wants to hurt a friend. Next, remember people's names and use them often. Everyone loves to hear their name. Keep track of the folks who enter your room. And when someone finishes with a service, thank them. Thank you, Terry the transporter, for getting me to the X-ray department this morning. Thank you, Helen Housekeeper, for wiping down the bathroom. Actually, a phrase that gets a lot of attention is this one. Thank you for helping me. Or thank you for helping us. That is powerful. It stops people. First of all, not many folks are actually thanked. And secondly, people do want to help. So when you phrase it that way, thank you for helping me, it allows the other person to feel important. And you can't get any better than that. And also be sure to preface any request with the word please. As an advocate for a patient, dress respectfully, look the part of an intelligent, well-informed, and powerful person. Well, these are just a few ideas of ways to stand out in a positive way. You want to create any type of dialogue that separates you from the other folks on your floor. And here's my last and most powerful suggestion as a simple way to start a conversation that shows that you are an informed patient. Bring a copy of my book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, with you to the hospital. The cover stands out as well as the title. I've tried this myself, and if you leave the book on your tray table, everyone who enters looks at it and comments, giving you the perfect opportunity to say, yes, I am concerned about healthcare-acquired infections and patient safety. Now they know that you know what to look out for. And if you bring the patient's safety logs with you when the doctor or nurse comes in and asks what medications you currently take, you simply whip out your logs and everything is already documented on these forms, along with any current allergies, contact numbers. I guarantee you not many people come this prepared. This is just another way to stand out in a positive and empowered way.
Here's a Speak Up and Stay Alive moment for you.
Very good.
Today we're going to introduce Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio Theater. Listen and then decide what type of doctor-patient interaction you would prefer. This is Healthcare Safety Out Loud.
Skit 1, The Demanding Doctor and the Polite Patient.
Here's the scene. A nervous-looking woman named Polite Patient Patty is sitting in the doctor's office, passively waiting for her doctor. Demanding Dr. Joe comes in and looks at his clipboard.
Hello, Miss Patty. I'm sorry I'm late. We had an emergency this morning and everything is backed up here at the really busy clinic. How can I help you?
Well, Dr. Joe, I'm just here for my routine exam.
Are you having any trouble?
Not really. I feel pretty good.
I see the nurse got your vital signs. They look good. I know you have diabetes. Have you been keeping up with your blood tests?
You mean the ones I take every day?
Yes.
Oh, sure. They seem fine.
Oh, just a second. Hello? I'm with a patient right now. I'll call you back, okay? All right. Bye. All right, no worries then. Are you staying away from sweets?
Oh, of course. I'm doing great.
Okay, we need to get your blood work, so stop by the lab. We'll see you in 6 months.
Phew. Got through that. I think I need to treat myself to a little candy.
Have any of you ever had a doctor's visit something like that one? Well, we're going to bring back our actors and show you how patients can actually be a partner with their physician to get better quality health care.
Skit 2, The Diligent Doctor and the Prepared Patient.
Here's the scene. Our prepared patient Patty is sitting in the doctor's exam room looking prepared and reviewing her notes while waiting for the doctor. She brought Bob along to act as her advocate, an extra set of eyes and ears. Diligent Dr. Joe comes in and looks at them with a smile.
Hello, Miss Patty. I'm sorry I'm late. We had an emergency this morning. I know you're here for your diabetes checkup, and I want to make sure you have all your answers and concerns covered.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. I've been doing some research about diabetes, and I have a few questions. I also brought in all my medicines and vitamins so we can go through them. And this diabetes care sheet you gave me the last time says I should have you look at this at each visit.
That sounds wonderful. I'm glad you're doing some research and bringing in your medications. That's really helpful. When did you start taking glucophage?
Well, I had to visit a specialist, and she prescribed it.
I'm glad you brought this list in because it's important that I know all the medicines you take, prescription, over-the-counter, or herbal, to avoid any unsafe interactions for you. Let's get started on your list of questions. I see the nurses have already taken your blood pressure and weight. I also see we gave you a urine test, cholesterol test, and the blood glucose test. Let me also check your mouth and feet. Patty, your test results look great, and my visual exam indicates that you're doing a great job of managing your illness.
Remember to ask for a copy of your test results before you leave, Pat, for your files.
That's not a problem. We can give you printouts before you leave today.
I also have another question. What's the one thing I can do better to manage my diabetes?
Well, it's still important for you to lose a few pounds. Tell me what behavior changes you think are responsible for you to make.
Well, I've started walking with Bob once a week. He's trying to lose weight too, so I bet he'd go with me 3 times a week. I could also cut down on the Sonic burgers I eat.
Those both sound like great ideas. Before you leave, will you talk with Mary, my assistant, to be sure we have your next labs and visit scheduled? When you come back, you can tell me how you're doing with the walking program.
Now this shows us how patients can partner with their physician to get better quality care. Like Patty in the last skit, how could you come better prepared to your next appointment? This assumes that your doctor is diligent and not demanding. We can see that polite Patty offered 0 questions and consistently told her doctor that everything was great. Prepared Patty, on the other hand, brought an advocate with her as well as all of her medications and supplements for the doctor to review. She had a written list of questions, she talked about research she had done, Bob remembered to ask for copies of her test results, and Patty initiated a very open-ended question. What's the one thing I can do better at managing my problem? Granted, the doctor's approach within the 2 skits were quite different. However, that should never scare or deter us from taking an active role during every doctor visit. It is our right, and it is our responsibility.
This is just another O moment from Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. And if you want to announce next week's O moment, just call me, 440-725-5462, or email speak@speakupandstayalive.com. And with that, let's hear some legal news you can use. During my live events, many people ask about long-term care. So I thought I'd get the answer from our resident expert, Pat Schraff, a nice and friendly attorney at Schraff and King, located on Somme Center Road in Willoughby, Ohio. Let's spend 2 minutes with Pat. Welcome to the show, Pat.
It's great to be here.
Pat, tell us, what is long-term care and how do you pay for that?
Long-term care is very much misunderstood. Many people think that long-term care is going to a nursing home for care, but actually long-term care includes care within your home, in an assisted living facility, perhaps in an adult family home, or care in a nursing home. In order to pay for that, people need to really know what the costs are and how they are going to be paying for that care. There are several ways to pay for the care. First, there's private pay. You can pay the cost yourself. If we're looking at nursing home costs, that may be anywhere from $6,000 a month to $14,000 a month. That cost is a bit beyond the average person's ability to pay. So looking at other options than having to privately pay and perhaps exhaust all of your money and all of your assets, people should take into consideration what else is available to pay for long-term care. First, long-term care insurance. This may not be for everyone, but it is an option to consider. Long-term care insurance will step in and pay the costs of in-home care, assisted living, nursing home care if needed. Long-term care insurance policy can allow people to keep more of their assets than they might otherwise be able to keep. But if people are not able to obtain long-term care insurance, or they do not have the resources to privately pay, then we're looking to other programs that might be available, like veterans benefits through the VA. The primary payer, though, of long-term care is the Medicaid program. Medicaid also provides in-home care, assisted living, and nursing home care, but you must be financially eligible, and this usually means spending your assets down toward the cost of your care. It also involves having few assets and little income to pay for your long-term care.
So if our listeners have further questions about long-term care, how can they go about getting more information about you and Schraff and King?
They can contact us at 440-585-1600 or www.schraffking.com.
Well, thank you for being here today, Pat.
Thank you.
Generation America supports Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. Generation America, the smart, conservative, and traditional 50-plus membership organization. Generation America cares what their members think about the issues affecting seniors and ensure their voices are heard. And they provide a full range of benefits to members. If you're looking for quality Medicare supplement, their rates are lower than the other 50-plus organization 3 out of 4 times. Generation America, on the right side for seniors. To join and to find out more, visit generationamerica.org.
From a trip to the emergency room to open heart surgery, all patients can experience not just perplexing and impersonal care, but serious communication failures among care providers and basic safety issues that can put them at risk. That's why I'm happy to have Elizabeth Bailey, author of the book, The Patient's Checklist, with us today. Listen as she spends the next 2 minutes with us to help keep us safe, sane, and organized during any hospital encounter. Welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much.
Let's just get very specific. What is a checklist and why is it important during a hospital stay?
Well, I feel that checklists, by their very nature, it's a very efficient tool. It's to the point. They're familiar for everyone, they're easy to use, and they're very, very practical. They don't try and spell out every single aspect of your care, but what I tried to detail was the important basics to not overlook. And what I also felt was important was to set up the book, to design the book so that it could be individualized. There's space so that you can write in your specific, detailed hospital care so that, you know who your nurses are, you know when their shift changes are.
So your book is not something to be read and put on a shelf. It gets to be used. People can write in it and keep track of what's going on. Elizabeth, I just love your book because it is so organized and ready for any and every patient to use. Tell our listeners how they can learn more about you and where they can purchase your book.
My book is on Amazon, but you can find out more about my book and me by going to my website, thepatientschecklist.com. People can also follow me on Twitter, and I tweet at Patient POV, which is a film term which means point of view. Patient POV, and I tweet about a lot of aspects of hospital care from the patient's point of view.
And your website is thepatientschecklist.com.
Yes.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing your simple hospital checklist as a way to keep us safe, sane, and organized.
Thank you very much for having me.
After the show, be sure to visit the website speakupandstayalive.com for more life-saving information. Before a hospital stay pops up unexpectedly in your life, you can purchase the book Speak Up and Stay Alive, The Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide. It's found exclusively at the website speakupandstayalive.com or is available in person at all of our speaking events. And to help your entire group, organization, business, or church stay safe during any healthcare or hospital experience, invite me to speak. Our presentations are lively, interactive, fast-paced, and about as fun as hospital safety can be. Email us at speak@speakupandstayalive.com or call 440-725-5462. And now, back to the show. You are listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. I am Pat Rulo, your hostess and author of the book, Speak Up and Stay Alive, The Patient Advocate Hospital Survival Guide. If you've listened to this show for even 1 minute, you know that we are dedicated to the promotion of patient and family engagement during every healthcare and hospital encounter. That's why when I met today's guest, be it online, I just knew that I had to share their efforts with you. Many times we wonder, does the patient or the patient's family really have a voice? Does what we think and say matter to anyone? Well, some hospitals around the country think so. Today we have two guests, both involved with a hospital project that actually includes the patient voice. They are from Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts, the Harvard Medical School Teaching Hospital. First, we have Barbara Sarnoff-Lee. She is the Director of Social Work and Patient Family Engagement at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. She is responsible for the strategic planning and operational development of patient-family engagement activities, which includes the creation and facilitation of numerous patient-family advisory councils, the placement of advisors on various medical center committees, and the development of topic-specific focus groups. Barbara has served as faculty at Harvard Medical School, Simmons School of Social Work, and Boston University School of Social Work. And our second guest is Ilana Premack-Sandler, and she is the project leader for the patient family engagement at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. Ilana manages the activities of over 100 volunteer advisors. In her role, she looks for ways to increase opportunities for patients and family members to be involved in hospital process and quality improvement. Alana has taught at Boston University School of Public Health. Well, we've got a powerful twosome. Thank you both for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center is bringing patients and families into the hospital's decision-making processes related to quality and safe care. So with that in mind, what made you decide to address patient-family engagement?
This is not new for us. In the 1970s, what was then Beth Israel Hospital created the first patient Bill of Rights, and in the 70s, also one of the first do not resuscitate policies, both of which then served as a template for the rest of the country. In the 80s, the Picker Institute was born at Beth Israel Deaconess, and Dr. Tom Del Banco and his colleagues were among the first to recognize the importance of engaging patients through surveys and focus groups for continuous learning, and then getting them involved in new approaches to care. In 2005, our neonatal ICU started a patient advisory council, and then in 2007, we started an adult ICU patient advisory council, which really served as what we call learning laboratory for us to test out strategies for using advisors and then trying to measure improvement. Then in 2009, we're somewhat unique in Massachusetts in that the state passed regulations said that all hospitals had to have hospital-wide advisory groups. So in addition to those advisory groups that we were already running, we then were happy to launch a hospital-wide advisory council.
How does this happen? Are there meetings, conferences? How do you pull these patients and families together at the same time with hospital staff?
As Barbara mentioned, over the past several years, we've developed 4 patient and family advisory councils, which come together several times a year for meetings. One council's for the hospital as a whole, one's for the adult intensive care unit, and one's for the neonatal intensive care unit. And then we have one for universal access, which works on making the hospital more accessible for people with disabilities. We also have patients and family members who are participating in hospital committees, such as our ethics committee, and we involve patients and family members in focus groups. Finally, patients and family members have been involved in process improvement events, which are based in a model called Lean, which is from the manufacturing world.
What are some of your quality and safety concerns? What are your approaches, and what are the solutions?
Quality and safety is woven into everything that we do at Beth Israel Deaconess. We are an organization that back in, I think, 2005 or 6, our then CEO created what was then called an audacious goal, which was to eliminate all preventable harm in our medical center. So again, it's something that we take very seriously. It's part of everybody's job and thought processes here at the medical center. When you talk about harm in hospitals and preventable harm, most of the time you hear about things like fall prevention, preventing deep vein thrombosis, preventing pneumonias and infections. But there's another element to harm, and that is how people experience the healthcare environment. People are not having good experiences, then that's another kind of harm. We look and involve patients and families in everything from our hand-washing initiatives to make sure that we are not spreading infections through inadequate hand-washing. We involve patients and families in how we get informed consent from patients and families. If there's been harm, how we talk with patients and families about harm and apology. All of those efforts have involved advisors in the process, so they are with the healthcare team and healthcare members thinking about how to improve the processes that would lead to better hand washing, better communication around harm and apology, better ways to inform people so that there truly is informed consent, and there's a whole host of other initiatives that we could go through. The advisors are woven into existing groups. If there's a group at the medical center that, again, is looking at our hand washing, and advisors then sit on those committees and in those groups that are looking at it. That's one way of advisor input. Another way that we obtain advisor input is already existing quality improvement groups come before the councils, present their work, and come to the group with very specific questions on what they want to hear from patients and families, what feedback would be helpful to them as they think about doing this work.
And let's just take hand washing, for instance. I know so many folks, they're concerned to ask a healthcare provider to wash their hands, even though there's signs posted around the hospital. What is some of the outcomes of this collaboration, just say specifically about hand washing?
So as you mentioned, patients and families are often reluctant in spite of all of the campaigns, and we have the buttons that say, please ask us, which means please ask us if we've washed our hands. What we've come to observe is that patients don't necessarily do that. So what we would want from patients and families is to say, help us understand what gets in the way. And once we identify those kinds of barriers, so is it that you're worried that if you were to speak up, it would influence your family member's care? Well, what would help you to feel more secure? So we go through this process of, in some ways, deconstructing the situation and getting input as to what would decrease the barriers, and then incorporate that into our processes, and then try to evaluate, as we evaluate our hand washing, and we all have percentages of how well we're doing on this, is there any change based on the advice that advisors have given us? The groups that are doing this work then come back to the council or to the advisors to report back so that we close the feedback loop. So you've given us advice, we're going to go off and use it, and then we're going to come back and tell you whether we've used it, and we don't use everything patients and families say. It's not feasible, or it may not make our efforts move forward, but we at least make a commitment to them that we're going to give you some feedback as to whether we've used your advice, how we've used your advice, and whether it's made a difference.
Right. And with that in mind, how does the hospital staff feel about this kind of collaboration? So now you're taking these suggestions to the hospital staff and say, here's why patients feel reticent to ask, or here's what the families are saying. How does the hospital staff react to that?
It's often very eye-opening for staff. I think with the hand hygiene, just in particular in the ICUs, it became a real opportunity for staff to think about how they introduce themselves to patients and family members each time they enter the room, as hand hygiene was happening each time they entered the room. We've also heard from nurse managers working on other projects outside of hand hygiene realm who said that you gain a different perspective from patients. She said, we had all these ideas in mind, what's good and bad for patients, and we had good intentions, but we can't make assumptions about what patients want. And our chief nursing officer, who's a member of the hospital-wide Patient and Family Advisory Council, has said, at the end of the day, it has to be meaningful and it has to be about patients. And she's encouraged staff to be present and value what patient and family advisors bring to the table. So we have a lot of buy-in from top leadership as well as staff on the ground.
And I guess that would be the important aspect. If you've got buy-in at the top, it trickles down and then everybody follows suit. Well, folks, in the event that you are just joining us, you found the perfect resource for all of your healthcare and hospital safety concerns. This is Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. I am your hostess, Pat Rulo. And today I'm so heartened to have these two lovely guests with us, Barbara Sarnoff-Lee and Ilana Premack-Sandler, both quite instrumental in the Patient Family Engagement Project at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts, where they work together to bring patients and family and the community into their hospital to offer the consumer voice to their efforts. So let's go a little further with this. We now understand that the hospital staff is buying into this and they're happy to join in. How do the patients and the community react to this?
Well, we've heard really positive feedback, but one of the patients on our ICU council, when she was a patient, said that just knowing that a group like the ICU council existed made a difference for her, and that it made her love the hospital even more. Another patient who sits on that council said that he was amazed at the extent of the hospital's commitment to this process of involving patients and family members, and the fact that, as he said, they're willing to put their money where their mouth is.
And your website immediately lets the patient know that you are committed to patient education, because on the very first page, on your home page, you actually have a tab titled Quality and Safety with subtitles that offer information about your quality efforts and efforts to improve quality and care, such as hand washing and infection control and the patient satisfaction experience, as well as another tab called Eye Health. And I just loved all the interactive tools and assessments and wellness and alternative therapies. And I think that this is what a hospital should aspire to. That's why I was proud to have you here. Well, since we are a national radio show, we've got people all over the country that listen. How would you suggest that our listeners outside of your area begin to approach their hometown hospitals to perhaps follow your lead?
People should have the confidence to ask at their local hospitals what ways they can be involved and whether the hospital has any opportunities for patients to participate in the design and delivery of health care. If they don't have any existing opportunities, the next question would be, would you consider starting? And if so, certainly if they are so inclined or curious, you can refer them. There's a national organization called the Institute for Patient and Family-Centered Care, which is a wonderful resource for both institutions, caregivers, and patients and families and has a lot of material on how to start efforts at patient-family engagement. I think the key is to start small, and as we did with starting with a neonatal ICU council and then an adult ICU council, I think it's helpful to, again, start small, get some traction, and then think about broadening your efforts, as we did, to a hospital-wide council and then the involvement of patients and families. Key to this is having institutional buy-in, and if the organization is not open and willing to think about patient and family engagement, it's going to be very hard to start. But if they hear enough people ask about it, my guess is the organization at some point, their ears will perk up and they will take notice.
Well, good. I'm going to be on that campaign trail because I'm excited about what it is that you're doing. Where can our listeners find out more about you and what you do?
Our website is www.bidnc.org/PFAC or PFAC. And on that website, we have an e-newsletter where you can read about all of our patient and family advisors and the projects that they've been involved with all over the hospital. It's really been a pleasure to speak with you. We're really proud to be setting the pace for Massachusetts.
Well, I'm proud to have you here as well. So do you have any final words of advice for us today?
This is wonderful and exciting work, and I think it's the work of the future. So I encourage everybody to dip their toe in this water. And I would say engagement takes many forms. There's no one right way to do this. Figure out what way works for you and your community and your healthcare system and give it a whirl.
I thank both of you for taking the time to share your work with us today. I know I feel a bit more empowered to hear that hospitals such as yours are starting to include the voice of the patient and are openly offering resources to inform and educate the public. So please keep me informed, if you will, of your progress so I can continue to share this positive movement with our listeners. And I thank you both so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Let's spend the next 2 minutes with our resident cleaning and infection preventionist, Darrel Hicks, consultant and author of the book, Infection Prevention for Dummies. Darrel, what is the role of a hospital housekeeper?
Their main role is to prevent infections, and the people that I work with, they get to feeling like all they do is clean toilets and make beds. That can be kind of depressing, but if you give them a purpose, such as you're able to save lives, if you do your job right, you have the right amount of time, the right tools, the right training, the right chemicals, that you will save more lives than a room full of doctors can cure. So if you get that attitude that I'm in the infection prevention business, then it's more than just flopping a mop and running a rag over things, that you have to have a purpose. I think most people will respond to that purpose, and at the end of the day, they can go home and with the assurance that maybe they saved someone's life today.
And I think as patients, it would be very nice if we, in turn, after a housekeeper tended to our room, would say thank you for keeping my room clean. And then they would feel that they're really affecting someone else.
Yeah, I think that anyone responds to positive feedback. And I train my ladies that when they get done cleaning, that they ask the patient or their significant other that may be visiting or sitting there with them, is the room clean for you? And that's your opportunity to ask questions or to give compliments. But if they're not asking, then you need to offer thank you, or could you get this for me so that I know that the room is clean. Most people respond to positive feedback, and just a thank you for the job that they do is very appreciated.
Absolutely. I encourage our listeners to thank a housekeeper.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Darrel. How can we learn more about you and your book, Infection Prevention for Dummies?
My website is www.darrelhicks.com. That is Darrel, DARRELHICKS.com. You can find out how to get in touch with me or order the book there.
Well, thank you, Darrel. I encourage our listeners to check out your website and your book, and your blog has lots of excellent information. Thank you for being here today.
Tired of the same old presentations?
Can you forward to slide 38, please?
Are you looking for a new, out-of-the-box topic for your next event? Want your group to leave inspired, informed, and satisfied? No PowerPoint presentations and dim lights here. No snoring or snoozing goes on during Pat's presentations. To help your entire group, organization, business, or church stay safe during any healthcare or hospital experience, invite Pat to speak. Her presentation formats vary from 15-minute small talks to 30-minut lunch and learns, to 1-hour events called The Scoop, to full days. Pick a topic from her website or request your own. Visit her website, speakupandstayalive.com, or call Pat to discuss how she can make your next event fun, enlightening, and life-saving. Want testimonials? Go to the bulletin board link at the website for color pictures and comments from real people. Again, it's speakupandstayalive.com or call 440-725-5462. That's 440-725-5462. And now, back to the show.
You are listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. I am your hostess, Pat Rouleau, with the only show in the world that offers patient safety tips served up in a wheelchair, which can only mean one thing, and that it's time to play the game acclaimed by critics, non-critics, and sometimes even self-proclaimed as everyone's favorite game of all time ever.
Fear the wheelchair.
Yes. By now, you've probably heard me talk about how I fear the wheelchairs that grace the front doors of almost every hospital. Patients and visitors get out of their cars and hop into the wheelchair, and I always wonder, where have they been? What have they touched? Then they wheel around the hospital, use the bathroom, sit in waiting rooms, visit patients, all the while picking up additional and deadly hospital bacteria like MRSA, C. diff, a bit of E. coli, and perhaps some candida yeast. And at the end of the day, they're back in their car, leaving the contaminated wheelchair at the front door of the hospital, ready for the next person to climb aboard. This makes the wheelchair a high-touch, highly contaminated vehicle, capable of spreading infections all over the place. So the wheelchair is now this show's representation of all hospital hazards, kind of like our mascot. So here we go, our new favorite game of...
Fear the wheelchair.
Listen as Joe reads some right or wrong statements. Then, even though I can't hear you, shout out your answers along with Bob. Is the statement right? Or is it wrong? Joe?
All right, here we go. Right or wrong. To stand out in a hospital in a positive way, bring photos of yourself and your family.
What do you think about that, Bob?
Well, I think that's definitely right.
Yes, that is one way to show your healthcare staff that you are a real person with a real life and not just another ringing call button. Relationships make the difference.
Right or wrong. If a doctor shows empathy, that means something has gone terribly wrong.
Ooh, what do you think, Bobby?
That may be right.
That's wrong. Empathy is a good thing. Oh, here we go again with the clapping and the wrong answers. I don't know what's going on here, folks, but empathy is a good thing. If a doctor speaks to you with understanding, feeling, and emotion, be sure to reinforce that behavior and say, thank you for talking with me like this. I appreciate your saying this. We are all human beings, and it really shouldn't be that difficult to communicate from the heart.
Right or wrong, long-term care only occurs in a nursing home.
What do you think, Bob?
I'm going to say right.
Well, that's what most people tend to think, Bob, but actually long-term care can happen within the home, assisted living facility, or adult family home, or even a nursing home. Everyone should have some sort of plan for their long-term care, making it an essential part of our life's plan in general.
Right or wrong, use a low-toxic product to clean your home, such as Dawn dishwashing detergent.
What do you think, Bobby?
I remember that. That one's right.
Right, that is right. And a microfiber cloth. Microfiber picks up and holds the soil better than other rags, and you want to use products that do not contain dangerous chemicals and fumes.
Right or wrong, patients should refuse to talk with the hospital if a medical mistake happens.
Now what, Bob?
Oh, that's wrong.
You are correct about that. Conversation is a way to maximize your chances to resolve the issue. Communication is key, and both patients and healthcare staff must come together in an attempt to create a common resolution outside of the courthouse. Just another point in favor of relationships.
Right or wrong, the superbug MRSA can live on hairbrushes.
Ooh, what do you think about that, Bobby?
I don't know about that. That may be wrong.
Ooh, no, that is right. And stay tuned, because later in the show, I've got some hair-raising news about this, Bob. It'll make you wish you were bald. Remember, the more you know. Joe's shaking his head. Remember, the more you know, the safer you'll be. And you heard about it here on Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. Thanks, guys, for playing everyone's favorite game.
Fear the wheelchair.
You are listening to Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. I am Pat Rulo, where the boys and I are keeping you safe during any healthcare or hospital encounter. Coming up, a brush with danger. Stay in your seat. On this show, we talk about the need for a patient advocate during every healthcare or hospital encounter. But advocacy also includes whom you rely on when it comes to health insurance. And when it comes to your Medicare supplement plans, you must compare. And you must compare with an impartial provider. And that's where Generation America comes in. You've heard them on this show before. Listen while I spend the next 2 minutes with Chris Alberta, the Medicare supplement partner with Generation America, as we discuss the importance of choice. Chris, can you tell us how are you and Generation America different when it comes to choosing a Medicare supplement plan?
They're doing something, Pat, that is really unique. As opposed to looking for an opportunity to hook up with one carrier or a company with a couple of products, what they said to us was, how can we offer everybody who's a member of our organization basically a menu? Many people don't know this, is all these Medicare plans, most of them are exactly the same coverage. The only difference is the price that you pay. We work with probably upwards of about 50 different programs and carriers around the country, which is most of them. And Generation America hooked up with us and said, listen, how can we show our members every single program that's available in their zip code and then really break it down according to age and price so they never end up overpaying? All of the reps that work for us have been licensed and trained in this kind of work, and most of them have worked in the field, Pat, actually at the kitchen table with folks. So they're not just, like a sales bank somewhere. They really care what you get, and we pay them exactly the same either way, which is cool because there's no incentive to ever recommend one product or one company over another.
That is great to know. People need choices, and they need to feel safe when they make those choices. So how can our listeners find out more, and where can they purchase the proper Medicare supplement for themselves?
Well, the website, generationamerica.org, is the main portal. That's the front door, really, for that team.
Well, thank you for spending the time to clarify Medicare supplements with us today, Chris.
No problem, Pat.
Remember, folks, Generation America is on the right side for seniors. For more information or to join, visit generationamerica.org.
I'm Jerry the Germ with a Speak Up and Stay Alive healthcare and hospital safety snippet just for you. Here's our expert, Pat Rulo.
Hey, Jerry, did you know that people are talking dirty and don't even know it? What do I mean? Think of cell phones and office telephones. Talk about germ collection devices. The germs on a person's hands go onto the phone, and a lot of respiratory viruses are expelled when you talk, sneeze, or cough. Thousands of people each year miss time from work thanks to all of this dirty talk. Don't waste your money on avoidable doctor visits and out-of-pocket medical expenses. Staying safe is easy. Invite me to speak to your employees. We'll have fun as you learn how to keep a clean and germ-free workplace. And Jerry, what are you doing on the bottom of that lady's purse?
Stay safe. Listen to Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. For more information, go to speakupandstayalive.com.
And now for my personal oh moment, and this really did cause me to say oh, as it is a brush with danger. One of our past guests on the show, Dr. Chuck Gerba, a microbiologist from the University of Arizona, mentioned something in passing about MRSA being found on hairbrushes. Well, this caused me to do some research, and it's my job to share all of my little-known stay-safe strategies with you. Here's what I found. We've talked about MRSA. It's a staph infection that's resistant to antibiotics, and thus it's hard to treat. Everyone has bacteria on their skin, including staph, but most of the time it doesn't present a problem. Well, Dr. Gerba said, we were quite surprised how many bacteria were in hairbrushes, and since they're usually in the bathroom, it's not a surprise to find fecal bacteria on them. We even found E. coli in some hairbrushes, which Dr. Chuck Gerba says probably is not any concern with the disease risk, although aesthetically, combing my hair with E. coli is probably not what I want to do. He goes on to say, I was really shocked at how common MRSA was in hairbrushes. Well, personally, I would never have guessed it was on almost half the hairbrushes that he tested. It probably is because MRSA likes to live on your skin and is finding skin to survive longer in hairbrushes. Well, this immediately made me think of beauty salons and barbershops. So here's my top 8 tips. When you enter a salon or a barbershop, look around to see if it's neat and clean. If it doesn't look clean in general, it's time to find a new salon. Look at the restrooms. Are they dirty? Do they lack liquid soap and clean towels? If they do, that means the technicians aren't washing their hands properly between clients. Kind of like that TV show, Tabitha's Salon Takeover. Number 2, make sure the sinks are clean between clients and that a freshly cleaned towel is put under your neck. 3, the salon should wash their robes and towels after every use. Many of them do not. Not only can MRSA survive on fabrics, lice can live on brushes, robes, and towels too. Number 4, all brushes, combs, scissors, and razors have to be sterilized between clients. If they're not properly sterilized and come into contact with bacteria, germs can grow and live on your scalp. The sterilization solution must be changed regularly, and the container should not be overcrowded with combs and brushes. Tip number 5, make sure the stylist doesn't stick his or her fingers directly into styling jars or containers, which can breed bacteria and be transferred to your skin. That's called cross-contamination. Tip number 6, it's important to make sure your hairstylist doesn't have any sores or cuts on his or her hands. Number 7, avoid dirty electric razors. Dermatologists note they commonly see ringworm when electric razors are used. And finally, Dr. Chuck Gerba concludes, you shouldn't share hairbrushes, or at least disinfect them once in a while. Have you disinfected your hairbrush lately? I know I haven't. I haven't even thought about it until now. So here's the tip. To disinfect your brushes, you can find a product called Barbicide at salon supply stores that are open to the public. Just follow the directions on the container. Well, now I know what all of us will be doing after today's show. And be sure to tell a friend, MRSA is a life-threatening bacterium. There's really no need to be subjected to it when all we want is a haircut. Well, today we talked about how to stand out in a positive way when you are a patient in the hospital. Be informed, be prepared, and be polite. Take the time right now before a hospital stay arrives to read my book. No, not because I wrote it, but because you need it. Bring it to the hospital with you. It's a silent visual that lets others know that you are an interested and educated patient. And our guests, Barbara Sarnoff-Lee and Ilana Premack-Sandler from Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, shared some good news from Boston. Their hospital is including the patient and family voice as a way to engage patients and create a better patient experience. And with Boston in mind, our hearts, minds, and prayers are with those who have suffered the injustice of yet again another attack on our sense of decency and the basic premise of right and wrong. It really shouldn't be that difficult for people to get along. And if you can't do that, just stay home and mind your own backyard. Now, if you missed today's show, you are living on the edge. When you join us each week, you may be adding years to your life or to the life of someone you know and love. So set your alarm clocks for Saturday and Sunday mornings and tune in and tell your friends. Don't be a radio hog. And if you want to hear the show again, you want to replay it for yourself or a friend in need, go to the radio link at the speakupandstayalive.com website to listen to today's program. You might want to do that anyway, just to help you remember more of today's exceptional information. Start your week with an O, Speak Up and Stay Alive Radio. And let me take a moment to thank all of our radio sponsors and weekly guest experts. In Cleveland, we have Schraff and King, attorneys for all of your advanced planning needs in Willoughby Hills, Ohio. And Darrel Hicks, consultant and author of the book, Infection Prevention for Dummies. Generation America, the AARP alternative, always on the right side for seniors. And Junction Auto Family, located in beautiful Chardon, Ohio. And Elizabeth Bailey, author of The Patient's Checklist. And in Phoenix, We have Mountain View Funeral Home and Cemetery in Mesa and Queen Creek, and Power Tags, Titles, and more in Queen Creek. And again, Generation America, your resource for quality Medicare supplements. The Coyote Coupon Books, Hari Khalsa, the Healthcare Whisperer, and again, Elizabeth Bailey, author of The Patient's Checklist. Oh, and be sure to listen next week when we have more guests and more fun lined up just for you. And of course, the boys will be here to play whatever game they decide. Always a fun way to share important healthcare survival tips and tools with you. That's next Saturday morning, where you can find us in Cleveland, Ohio, from 7 to 8 Eastern on AM 1420 WHK. Then from 9 to 10 Eastern on AM 1220 WHKW. And remember, our newest edition, Saturday mornings in Phoenix, Arizona, from 6 to 7 Mountain Time on AM 1360 KPXQ. And then on Sunday morning in Phoenix, you can listen from 9 to 10 Mountain Time on AM 960 KKNT. Or listen live via the internet. Check the speakupandstayalive.com website to find out how. In the meantime, I hope you have a happy and healthy week. I am Pat Rouleau, and I am your guide to safe and successful healthcare and hospital encounters.
The information provided in today's broadcast is for informational purposes only and was not intended for use as diagnosis or treatment of a health problem or as a substitute for consulting a licensed medical professional.
I'll survive. I'll survive. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Generation America supports Speak Up and Stay Alive. Generation America, the smart, conservative, and traditional 50-plus membership organization. Generation America cares what their members think about the issues affecting seniors and ensure their voices are heard. And they provide a full range of benefits to members. For instance, if you're looking for a quality Medicare supplement, their rates are lower than the other 50-plus organization 3 out of 4 times. Generation America, on the right side for seniors. To join and to find out more, visit generationamerica.org.